Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to lesson 2 of the MyListing 101 course. Before we dive into the agenda, I want to quickly do a recap of the previous lesson, which is to say we got our domain set up with our domain host. We then moved on to our setting up our CDN, which is our edge protection and performance solution. Using Cloudflare. So think of that as the fence that sits around your house providing security, but it also provides performance when you think of, the website, what it does for the website. Okay. The other final piece was setting up the hosting, the web hosting, which in this case is Kinsta hosting, and then tying everything together, the domain, the CDN, and the web hosting. Okay, so that's where we were at in the previous lesson. Again, even if you're not interested in Kinsta or maybe even Cloudflare, which at a minimum I would be interested in Cloudflare, but definitely check it out. Don't poo-poo it just because it talks about Kinsta, and maybe you'll learn something. I'm guessing you will learn something new about what you can do with your own hosting. Or just, maybe when you see that video, you'll think about signing up for Kinsta, okay? Because you'll see how beautiful the interface is and just how easy it is to work with. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the agenda for today, which is we're going to look at WordPress Core. So as of now, we haven't even logged into our website yet. It's there, it's built, it's sitting there with our live domain, but we've done nothing else to it. So we're going to talk about WordPress Core, some of the core settings, and then we're going to move on to the theme, getting that installed, looking at the child theme, and so on and so forth. And then we're going to talk about the plugins, like the default plugins that come with MyListing, and that sort of thing. Okay, so that's today's agenda. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to remove myself from the screen here and move the agenda to my other screen. Okay, so this is where we left off with the MyListing project template. And as you see here at the very top, this coming soon mode. So the next thing we would want to do is decide, do we care that the public might stumble upon our site? That's one thing. So you might want to throw up a coming soon page to prevent them from seeing what you're developing underneath your site, right? The other reason, another really good reason to have a coming soon page is to prevent the bots from hitting your site. Another good reason is to put up a form to capture people, to let them know when you launch, get them into your newsletter, for example. Those are the reasons you would want to do that. We're not going to do that just yet because that's what I would do. So that's why that step is right here at the top. That's what I would do next. But because this isn't a real world site and I want to talk about Elementor at that point when we implement that, I'm going to save that for a bit. So I'm going to move this down the page here. Put this more down here. Okay, but as I said, if this was a real world site for whatever, myself, my clients, your site, whatever, I would throw up that coming soon page with Elementor and start capturing those leads with your newsletter form and whatnot. Okay, the other thing we can do is, if we don't care about that part of it, but maybe we do want to block the bots from hitting our site just because we don't want them indexing our incomplete content and that sort of thing. So for that, there are a couple ways. You can actually do it within Kinsta if you want. If you don't want to set it in WordPress, you just go here to Tools and you can do Enable Password Protection. So no one will be able to see your site. It'll just be a password protection box. That's one way that you can do it. Okay. Another way is just to simply do it within WordPress itself. So now we're going to get a first look at the WordPress install that we'll be working with. So I'm going to, from the Kinsta dashboard, I'm going to click on this Open WordPress admin link here. Or if you already know, like you're probably familiar with it at this point, but again, I want to approach this course like people are just starting out, maybe even with WordPress, okay? But another way you can do it is you can just put in your domain name and then /wp-admin, okay? That is one way you can get there. So without Keensta, that's how you would get there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in. All right, so there is our fresh, clean install of WordPress. Very exciting stuff. And as I mentioned, the other option for blocking those bots, you could go to settings and then reading. And you could check this box to discourage search engines from indexing the site and save changes. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna roll with that. So as of now, search bots, they're not gonna index anything you do, so you don't have to worry about the content you're adding to your site and it being gobbled up by search engines and indexed and put out there on the web for everyone to see. All right, that is that. Okay, so we moved to coming soon, the real coming soon mode that I want to talk about later. We moved that down the list there. Okay, so let's run through the tasks that we have here in the project template for WordPress. All right. First up is the WordPress reading settings. We're already in that section right there, okay? So one of the things we want to do is we want to set our home page displays to either an actual home page or our latest post. Now with MyListing websites, pretty much every time you're going to want to set it to your home page, right? There are a couple instances where I've had some clients that, maybe they weren't quite ready to launch their full-blown MyListing website, but maybe they wanted people to get to their blog posts right away while the other parts of their site were being built out. So you can do that as well. Okay, but we're going to set it to our home page. Okay, but as we see here, when we switch off of your latest post to displaying a static page, we see here we don't have a home page. Okay, so we first need to create that page. So we hover over Pages, Add New Page. And we'll just give this a title of, sorry about that. We'll give this a title of Home, and we will publish that. We'll go back here into our reading settings and just refresh this page and set our home page to home, okay? All right, so that satisfies that subtask. Next up is post page. Set this to your blog page only if you are going to use the theme's default blog template, which is, obviously MyListing in this case. MyListing's default blog template is not the greatest. So I recommend not doing this. I recommend using Elementor to build your blog page and your blog post templates, okay? So what we're gonna do here is ignore this. So back to the reading settings. We are not going to set the post page here. Okay, next up is blog pages to show and syndication feeds to show, most recent. So back here in the reading settings, that we're just talking about these two settings right here. This is more of a preference of how many things that you want to display on the screen. I typically just do 9. That's my preference, just because I want 3 rows of 3. That's just me. You can do whatever you want there. Play with it, see what you like, and do what you want there. So we're going to mark off those 2 subtasks. Next up is for each post in the feed that displays, how do we want to display those posts? Okay. I like to choose excerpt. So back to our reading settings, I like to change from full text to excerpt. So you're just giving them that little snippet of text to get them enticed to read the full post. It's also good for performance too. You're not loading all of that content at once. It's a slight performance boost, right? Okay, so we're going to mark that complete. And we've already discouraged the search engine visibility. All right, so we've now completed this task. We're going to delete the task. And back in WordPress, we are going to save our changes. Okay, back to the template. Next up is, I've got listed here, is transactional email. And I think we're going to push this one elsewhere. We're going to push this one elsewhere for now. Okay, so I'm going to move this further down. drop it all the way towards the bottom here. Okay, next up is we've got policies. Same thing. I'm going to drop this down here. MyListing worksheets. At this point, if this was a client project, or if, yeah, it's the same thing. Client project, manage my listing, same thing. What I would do is I would assign this task to the client and have them start working on this, populating this stuff, because it's probably going to be something that they're going to need to spend a little bit of time on, but it is a massive payoff in the end. We'll get to all of this later, but you want to get your client working on this. If you're building a website for someone else and you have this project template, you want to get them working on this right away. Within the first, definitely the first day, get this assigned to them, okay? All right, so we're going to push this down the page. All right, what's up next? We've got the WordPress general settings. Okay, so for that, we go back into WordPress and we go to settings in general. And let's knock out these subtasks here. And if you want to read everything I'm doing here and you don't have the project template yet, if you just want to read this stuff, you can go to, pull this up here on my other screen. Well, I can do it over here. Go to menu and then resources, and then do a search. That's right here, actually. I like to keep this one at the very beginning because I'm updating it so many times, so often throughout the week. It just kind of stays at the front. But this is, you can read this guide. This is the mega guide that I keep updated try to keep updated at all times, keep as recent as possible. But you can walk through this. This is a free guide that has a lot of the same content. It doesn't go in depth with the checklists and everything like the project template, but it'll get you a lot of the way there. Okay, so first up with subtask is the site title. Okay, so this is very simply just put in the name of your site. I'm just going to keep it at MyListing 101. Tagline. Add your tagline and try to include your keywords, for SEO, right? So what would a tagline be for this? Teaching others to use the MyListing WordPress theme. So, we've got our keywords in there, we're MyListing, it's a WordPress theme. So that's a valuable tagline. So we'll just go with that. Just try to include keywords about whatever your particular business is, your directory is about, that sort of thing. All right, WordPress address URL and site address URL. All I'm telling you to do here is make sure you have the HTTPS version added and not just the HTTP, which is the insecure version added. So let's go back here. We see that both of these URLs are only using HTTP. So we need to change these by putting an S in there. Okay, so HTTPS. Now we want to hit enter or click save changes here. And when we do this, WordPress is going to boot us out, right? Because it wants us to log back in with a secure connection. So I'm going to hit enter here and we'll see that we get booted. Okay, here we go. Let's log back in. All right, so now we see those URLs stuck and we are now operating under a secure connection. Okay. Another really important piece about making sure you run on HTTPS is performance. This is going to enhance the performance of your site. Anything that operates over HTTPS is going to be leaps and bounds faster than straight HTTP. You just don't want to use HTTP in general. It's just insecure. The performance boost is awesome on top of that. But if you do nothing else, make sure you do it for security reasons. But all right, that is that. So let's mark those as complete. Next up is the administrative email address. I entered this already. So that's this right here. I entered this already as part of my install. But let's say that you wanted to change this to something else. I'm going to give you a little insider's tip here. So typically when you would change this, if I was to hit enter now or save my changes, it's going to want to send a notification message to Ryan at My Listing Club confirming that you want to make that change. But what if you just want to force that change to happen without notifying the other parties? Maybe you guys use an email distribution list and you just don't want to send emails to that whole distribution list to get approval. It could confuse people, right? So what you can do instead is knock off the word general and the dash in our URL there. So it just becomes options.php and then hit enter. That's going to drop us to like a special options configuration page here. And you can scroll down or just do a search for the word email. There we go. And what we're looking for is admin email. So I'm going to paste in that new admin email and I'm going to hit enter. All right. I'm going to go back to the general tab and we see here that it's already been changed. It's flipped and it's saying there is a pending change, blah, 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 blah. But that's fine. You just hit cancel. And now you've done this without notifying parties and making, confusing them, like I said, and adding unnecessary noise to their day. Okay, so that's that. Site language, adjust that as desired. I'm going to leave it as English. And time zone, set the time zone to where your core audience is. Okay, so don't leave it at just UTC. In most cases, you won't leave it here. You want to put it, like I said, where your core audience is. I'm going to set New York since I'm on the East Coast. Okay, and save changes. All right, so that satisfies this task. We're going to go ahead and delete it. Next up is permalinks. This is the WordPress permalinks. This is not the listing permalinks. Okay, so for this, we go back to WordPress, and then we go to settings and then permalinks. And we want to make sure that we change it and set it to post name and then save our changes. All right, so that one is good to go. We can delete that. All right, next up is our parent theme, which obviously is going to be MyListing. And let's see here, make sure I've got the theme downloaded, and I do. All right, so let's go into this task card, and you can read all about this, like I said, on that blog post, the Build a Business with MyListing Mega Guide, if you want to read more into it. But we want to install and activate the latest version of the parent theme, which again is MyListing. So for that, we're going to go back over to WordPress. We're going to go to Appearance and Themes. We're going to click Add New Theme, whether you use the button here or you can click this big box right here. We're then going to choose Upload Theme, choose File, and choose the latest version of MyListing. Now, where do you get this file at? Once you purchase the theme, assuming you purchase it from Theme Forest, they're going to give you an option to download the full install package, right? That's the option. They give you another option too, where you can just install the installer files. I forget what they call it, but you want to install the full package or download the full package because that's also going to give you the child theme. Now, you may not need the child theme, but it's good to have it there and downloaded. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and install this. Once you download the package from Theme Forest, you're going to, like I said, it's going to have the child theme in there too. So what you want to do is you want to extract the download file from Theme Forest, and then you're going to get separate files for the parent theme and the child theme. You want to upload the parent theme. Okay, so we're going to install that now. On my other screen, let's see here. Let's see how. I don't think it would be too much of a pain here. I'm going to see if, because I want to be as thorough as possible with this course and not skip any steps in case people really need help with, literally every step along the way. So let me take the time here. I want to show real quick what that looks like for that download. Yeah, when I clicked download, you have the options. It'll say all files and documentations, or it'll say installable WordPress file only. You want the all files and documentation option. So I've downloaded that to my machine. Let me pull that over. Here we go. So it's going to look something like this right here. All right. Now you can't go and just upload this theme file like I showed you and install it. You can't do it that way. It's going to error out on you. You need to right click on it. And you need to extract all the files. So on Windows, I'm just choosing extract all. Pull that over here. There we go. So I'm just going to choose extract all. Let's go back. Right click on that downloaded file. We're going to choose extract all. Again, this is on Windows. I don't know how it's going to say on like a Mac, for example. Okay. And then you're going to get this screen and you just say extract. Should be very quick. Depends on how fast your workstation is. Okay, we're just waiting for this to complete, and then we will continue on here. So I apologize for the small bit of silence. I guess while this is doing this, I could say, so when you purchase the theme from ThemeForest, you're entitled to a license forever. If you want to be able to get support from the MyListing developers, you'll need to re-up your subscription there on ThemeForest, to get the updates and support and not the updates, but the support, which even if you don't require support from the official MyListing team, I recommend that you still maintain an active license in ThemeForest to support the devs, to keep this project moving forward, to keep them interested in providing support and new features and things like that. So I would try to just maintain that, just for the good of the MyListing community, just keep that renewed each time that they ask you to renew it. Okay. All right. So we've extracted those files. Then you go into that extracted folder and you'll see here, there's a MyListing folder here that is zipped and a child folder that is zipped. That is your parent theme here and your child theme. And because they're zipped up, that tells you that's what they are. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we've uploaded that zip file for the parent theme. We're going to activate it. All right, so at this point, MyListing is our active theme. It is our parent theme. Let's go back to our task list here. So we've done that. We've installed and activated the latest version of the parent theme. Next up, I say remove all themes except the parent theme. This is if you are an advanced user. What I mean by that is if you are advanced enough that you know how to use a tool like FileZilla or another tool, maybe your hosting has it, or you have a plugin to where, not a plugin, it's got to be like the hosting, or it's got to be like an external application. I use FileZilla, it's a free app. An expert user in this case is someone that knows how to navigate the files of their website. All right, in case there's an issue, you need to be able to get in there into the file system and add a theme. So that's the advanced users, okay? For the purposes of this tutorial, we are not gonna do that. We're just gonna remove all themes, which is this next subtask. We're gonna remove all themes except the parent theme and the latest core WordPress theme, all right? So for that, we go back to our themes, and this is the latest, greatest WordPress theme, 2024. So we're gonna delete all the others. There we go. And why do we do that? Because it's just one more thing a couple more things in our database. It's one more thing to worry about a security issue. Hopefully WordPress core themes don't have security issues and whatnot, but it's just one less or a couple less things that you need to worry about just to clean those up. All right. Nice and tidy. All right. So we've done what we need to do there. Next up is our child theme. And I've got a guide and a video on a free video that you can check out on the YouTube channel for how and why you should install this. And we're going to go ahead and install this here. We don't need it yet, but I want to do it just to show people it's there. We will need it eventually as part of this course. All right. So back to themes, add new theme, upload theme, choose the file, and we're going to choose MyListing Child in this case. Again, if I hadn't already done this before the course started, by downloading the parent theme and the child theme already, again, you just go back into that downloaded file, that folder from ThemeForest, and you choose MyListing Child, okay? Install now and activate. So what this is doing now is we see that the child theme is active. What this is doing now is it's got just enough, the bare minimum amount of files that says, hey, I know that I've got a parent theme installed here, and it's the same theme, and we're gonna work together. So if I make any changes now in my child theme, it's not going to be overwritten when my listing comes up with updates to the parent theme. Okay, so these two are talking to each other. But as far as this goes, the parent theme has, no impact on your site if you make changes, which you'll see in the future here, to the child theme. So the MyListing theme will not be able to trump the child theme, what you do over there. All right. Okay, so we did that. Let's knock that one down. MyListing Core plugins. All right, so nothing I really need to talk about here in the task card. I'm just going to show you. So for this, you'll see here we have a notice. The theme requires the following plugins: Elementor and WooCommerce. The theme recommends, big difference here, guys, recommends Contact Form 7. That is not required. We are not going to use it. I'm going to show you a better way, okay? But what we can do is say, begin installing plugins. We're going to choose to install Elementor and WooCommerce, not Contact Form 7. So under bulk actions, we change that to install and click apply. We're going to give this a second to try and complete. What I have noticed, and I don't know if there's been some recent changes to WordPress when it comes to plugin installs and theme installs, to where it's like the screen doesn't refresh properly, so you don't really know what's going on. I don't know if that's the case here, or if it's something to do with the way it's packaged and it's trying. My listing is doing some things in the background. Maybe those two things are both coming into play here. They're not jiving together. I probably need to check this further and possibly submit a bug report to the MyListing guys. But that's long enough. It should have resolved itself. So if I refresh this, it didn't used to do this. So if I refresh this, for some reason, it drops me into the Elementor widget, setup wizard, which I do not want to do. So I just go up here to the address bar, and I just take out everything after WP admin. We might be able to hit skip here. Let's see what that does. Yeah, see, they're going to keep running you through this. I'm going to try hitting this X up here in the top right. All right, that'll do it too. All right, so that's probably easier for most users out there to do. Just hit that X in the top right. I just typically use the URL bar and clear stuff out. But that can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So I shouldn't say dangerous. It might temporarily break your connection in air quotes, and you just need to hit the back button a few times. Anyway, let's continue on here. Let's go back. Let's go to plugins and just see what that did for us. Yeah, you see, it didn't even do anything with WooCommerce. So let's go back to begin installing plugins. Let's install WooCommerce on its own. All right, so that's in. That's how fast this stuff should go. Please let me know in the comments section if you know something about that, or you've talked to the MyListing guys already and they said something about that. Or WordPress. Maybe you filed a report with WordPress. Here we go. We're back into another setup wizard. I do not run this, so let's click this skip guided setup in the top right. Yeah, see this highly annoying WooCommerce. So let's go to our address bar. This is why I just always do everything from the address bar. Clear everything after admin. Okay, there we go. So now we have the required plugins for MyListing. I'm going to go in here because I don't use Akismet, and you definitely don't need Hello Dolly. That I don't even know why WordPress includes that anymore. It should just go away, but let's just delete those plugins. Okay, so that's in there. And so next up, we've got the recommended plugin contact form 7. We're going to just dismiss that. Again, we're going to tackle that, the contact form stuff, later. Let's go back here, and MyListing Core plugins, that task is done. Let's see what we've got here in WordPress plugins. Remove any plugins installed but not needed. We've done that. Properly evaluate plugins prior to installing. Okay, so what I see a lot, and this is where the problems start. We've got a clean install of WordPress. We've installed the plugins for MyListing, and people just start installing plugins. Left, right, front, center, just whatever. Like, this is my new testing ground. I'm going to test stuff. I'm going to, whatever. That is where things really start to fall apart. From what I've seen out there, when I go out and I rescue sites, I fix sites for people. That's what I see. There was a post just recently in the club community, and I offered to log in and look at their site and see what's going on. 40 plugins, and the site hadn't even launched yet. That's a problem. So that's what I want people to avoid. If you need to test a plugin, like you're right here, you're at this stage, you're at this screen, and you're like, oh, I want to install, this. If it's Elementor Pro, install it. Don't even think about it. Just install it. You're good to go. But if it's something else you're not sure of, like, I don't know if I really need that. I don't know if it's going to be my long-term solution. Come back over into Kinsta, or wherever you host, or however it is that you have staging, or however it is that you want to test plugins that are not on your live site. So if you're on Kinsta here, for example, switch over to your staging site, log in, test the plugin. Again, however it is that you test your plugins. Once you are pretty sure, pretty confident that plugin is going to be part of your long-term solution, then install it on your live site. Nothing's foolproof. There's no way you can say for 100% something's going to stay on your site forever. But just have like that 95% chance in your mind thinking that, hey, this is going to stick around for a while. Then at that stage, come back into your live site and install it. Just again, please don't use the live website as your testing ground. It's going to leave, if you ever decide, one, it's just bad to do that because you're adding all this unnecessary bloat and performance issues potentially and conflicts to your site. On top of that, if you decide to uninstall 5 of those plugins down the road, chances are they're leaving all that crap in your database, and it's every time you go to load a page, whether it's you or your users, you're loading all of that crap from the data. Like, the database wants to load that, wants to add it to every page that's visited, every post. Okay, I've got a video on decrapifying your database for that reason. All right, so we talked about properly evaluating plugins. Yeah, there's a guide right here. You can click this guide, plugin evaluation. I've got a whole guide on that talks about this. All right, so I would walk through that, and then there's a video on how to evaluate plugins for your website. Okay, what else was on here? Install and activate any plugins you need to start building your website. All right, so at this stage, we don't need any to start building because we're not there yet. We're not there as the part of the course. Okay, so I'm going to delete that task. Next up is WordPress admin accounts. For that, we go back to our WordPress dashboard, users, and let's go to all users here. We see that my account is the only one in here. I'm the administrator. Let's say you have other people on your team. Ask yourself, do they really need administrative access account? Can they get by with just editor? Like maybe they're just helping you add content to your website. Then maybe just the editor, or maybe even just the author. Give them the least, give them the lowest role you can give them, knowing you can always increase that role, right? Okay, so let's say you do have somebody on your team that absolutely needs admin level access, or a support person that needs admin level access. First of all, if you're granting admin level access to your website, I recommend not doing that to your live website. Again, if you're with Kinsta or wherever your staging is at, drop over here into your staging environment, give them access to staging. Keystone makes that really, really simple. Okay, so when you're under managed users and you invite a user, you can choose what level of access that they have and to which environment that they have. Okay, I've had instances in the past where I trusted too much in the very beginning of my WordPress journey back many, many years ago, and I trusted too much. I trusted the developer of a particular solution, and they went in and made all of these changes, screwed everything up, and it was hard getting any answers for them as to what they did. So, a backup, a restore was required. Okay, if that was all done on staging, none of that would have happened. Okay, so that is my top recommendation. But let's say you have a team member that absolutely needs admin level access. They are a co-founder with you of your business. Okay, add them as an admin user here. So add new user, fill in their information, set their role to administrator as I'm showing you here. WordPress is automatically going to default to a strong password, which is great. I would just roll with that, and then send them this notification. Okay. One of the key points I want to make here is I would just ensure that anyone that has admin level access to your site has two-factor authentication. Okay. Let me see here in the project template where I talk about that. I think we get in, I don't know if I actually get into that. So let me do a search here, 2FA. We don't get into that. Okay, so we're gonna get into that, back to that previous step where I said, install the plugins that you absolutely need to start building. Okay, so this is gonna fall into that place. Let's pretend we created this admin user. We didn't, but let's just pretend that we did. So the next thing, what I would do before we do that is install this plugin. And the plugin is called 2FA. Let's see here. Figure out exactly which one it is. It's the one by the official MyListing, the official WordPress Theme here. I'm going to pull up my site because I have it on there. This is a plugin I install on all of my own sites. Two-factor, okay. All right, it's called two-factor. So here I go. TWO-factor. Here we go. So there's others out there. There's lots of options. The club has some deals for two-factor authentication plugins if you want to check those out. But this right here, this is a pro tip. This is by the plugin contributors, which means these are people contributing to core WordPress. So what I relate that to meaning is this is eventually going to be part of WordPress Core. It's that native to WordPress. It's by the same people that help contribute to WordPress. That's what I'm going to trust the most. And it's free on top of that. So huge bonus. So we're going to install that. And activate. Okay. And then we're going to go back to our users, back into our admin account. And we scroll down a bit here. We're going to see a new section under application passwords. And this is where you will set this up. So you'll see a two-factor authentication section. All right. So then you choose the method. I use the Microsoft Authenticator app. It's a free app. I use that on my phone, mobile phone. So what I typically do is just enable this, set it to primary, and then I set up this Authenticator app. It takes we'll call it 10 seconds to set this up with your Authenticator app, and then you're good to go. So every time I log into my websites, I need to, with my phone, which I'm doing here, I pull it up, click on the Authenticator app, and it's going to give me a code, and I punch that into my website, and you're good to go. It does not, for the security and the peace of mind that this adds, it is worth that extra 3 seconds to log into your website. Okay, so that's what I use. I'm not going to assign that for this. I'm not going to set this up for this site. Okay. because it's just a test site, right? All right, so WordPress admin accounts, I think I've covered that. I think you know what I'm saying there. This level of access should be limited to a very select few people. When I do technical audits, those are free, by the way, if you want to sign up for one of those. When I do tech audits, a lot of times I will see 5 admin accounts, 10. I've even seen like up to 12 admin accounts in there. It's a very big no-no, okay? Well, Ryan, I need these people support my website. Well, not at the same time, they don't. It's impossible for all those people to be supporting you at the same exact time. It's just not realistic. So what you can do in that case, instead of, if you don't want to go through and delete their account, set their role. So we go back into users here. If you know these people are going to help you maybe next week or the week after, don't need to delete their account. Just go in here and change their role. Let's do a search here for role. Where did the role go? Maybe it's because I can't change my own role. I think that's here. Where the heck is role? Probably staring right at it. I think it's because it's my own account. Let's go here. We'll add a new user and see. Test admin. Okay, so we're creating an admin account. We're not going to send that to the user. Test admin at testadmin.com. Cool. Add new user. All right, so you've added this user to your site. They're helping you build. They're helping provide support. A vendor is helping support you for whatever reason. You can see over here that two-factor adds a nice column over here so you can see who's got it and who's not. Make sure those admin accounts do have that. So if I go into test admin, yeah, there we go. That's why, because I can't change my own role. And probably can't change the default admin role for my account either. But anyway, you see what I'm saying here. So they're not going to help you for a couple weeks. They're on vacation or whatever the reason, or maybe you just don't know when they're going to need you again, but you don't feel like recreating their account. You can set this role to like subscriber. Just knock it way down to the lowest role and save changes. If they come back 5 months from now to help you out, go back in here to their account, into their role, and change it to administrator, and you're good to go. Okay. Another option that you can do, it just came to mind while I'm thinking about this. There's a plugin. Let's go here. We're going to go ahead and just delete this user. There's another plugin that I really like. If you don't want to go about creating user accounts, I'm going to do a search for temporary. See if it comes up. Temporary. Yeah, this one right here, temporary login without a password, obviously a free plugin. Really, really cool. It allows you to send either like, it could be a time limitation. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but like they can have a couple hours of access, a couple days, a week, a couple months, a year, and you set that up and you just send them a link so you don't need to create accounts for them. So you can keep this plugin installed on your website and add people that way. It's really, really nice plugin. Okay, don't grant admin level access to just anyone who helps with your website. I covered that already. Give them only the role that they need. Okay, require 2FA authentication for admin level access. All right, so we are good with this task. WordPress editorial accounts, we've already covered this for the most part. If all someone's doing is helping you add content, they just need the editor role. In a lot of cases. So this would be adding content from the back end of your website. They need that editor role to get into WordPress, to get into Elementor, and that sort of thing. Okay, and I'll walk you through what to do here. So let's add a new user. And we're just going to call this editor. And we're going to do editor at mylisting.club just because. We're going to leave do not use weak passwords. I'm just using that because this is a test site and I know it's a password I'm going to remember. And then we want to set this to editor. And you would want to leave this enabled. Send the new user an email about their account. I'm not doing that in this case just because that's not even a real email account. So I'm going to click add new user now. There we go. So we've now got our editorial account. What else do I say here? Set the username, email, and address and roles editor. We did that. Nickname, set as desired. So if we were to go on the front end of our website and see that this person was the author, the whatever of the post, that's how it's going to display, is just editor. We don't want that. So we edit that account. Okay, we give it a nickname. So whatever you decide that is, maybe it is editor, maybe we put editor in all caps so that, hey, this is the generic editor account for my business. You could totally do that. You could put the name of your business and then editor. So MyListing editor, whatever you want to do there. You can put their name even. Like if this is a team member, like a permanent member of your team that's editor, you could put their actual name in there if that's something that you wanted to do. You could even just put your website name in there if you wanted. MyListing Club. All right, whatever you want to do there. So I'll just put MyListing 101. And now what that unlocks, which is the next subtask, is the ability to display how you want to display the name publicly as. Let's go back to that account. Now under display name publicly as, we have the option to choose that nickname that we added. All right, so let's do that, and we will say update user. Cool. All right, so we satisfied that task. Discussion settings. This has everything to do with MyListing a lot. This does have an impact on MyListing for sure. So I give you the settings to set up here. What else do I say here? So this is like reviews and things like that. The MyListing reviews mechanism requires this. So if you don't have reviews and stuff like that on your website, then you can actually just disable the discussions altogether. There are plugins to do it. There's code snippets to do it where you can just kill this altogether, eliminate that potential spam, overhead, all the above, all that kind of thing. Just get rid of commenting altogether. This right here doesn't always work. I give you the setting here where you can do that. You can try that and see if that is enough for you. So let's get out of here. Let's go back to so under our WordPress dashboard, and then we go to settings and then discussion. And where's the one? This one right here. If you uncheck this one and see if that is enough to stop that, those from happening. Again, that's if you want to disable the commenting system. All right, see if that is enough for you. Avatars is the next one before I get into the other settings. These are what we see here. So if someone's not logged in, by default, you're going to see this little mystery person box here. You've probably seen that. If you've ever seen a MyListing website, this is the avatars, what sits on, represents them. Whatever the WordPress account is, the author, the editor, whether it's your customer, the users of your website, whatever, that's how it's going to display. All right. I would probably just roll with, not showing an avatar at all. This is going to get, when I talk about a performance gain, I'm not always meaning that it's going to change your website from getting a 50% performance score, which I hate scores to begin with, but let's just say a 50% performance score. It's not going to change it from 50 to 80%. Just that's not what I mean when I say these performance gains, or I say this is going to be a performance hit, which is a negative thing. I'm just saying, through this course, you might hear me say that, and I'm just saying certain things have a slight performance. Everything has it adds up, right? It's got a little bit of a performance ding to your website. Showing avatars is one of those dings. And it's very simple because it has to make, your website, your server, WordPress has to process that information, right? So that takes effort, resources to do that, to show a mystery person image, to show a Gravatar logo, to show the initials, whatever it is. So Sometimes I will see show avatars as completely removed. Have a client project. I mean, just 2 days ago, I was asked to completely shut down the avatars, and I totally understood, and I actually agreed. Like, don't use it if you don't have to, right? But if you're going to use avatars, choose the method down here. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it is a little bit of a performance hit. Okay, so default post settings. Attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the post. We want to disable that. So that is this setting right here, this top one. So as the name suggests, attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the post. So if the post, which in this case could be anything, a post, listing, page, whatever, if there's a link to any blog that's added to that, it's going to go out and it's going to try to notify those websites and say, hey, I found one of your links to your website in this content. Let's ping them. So we don't want that to happen. We don't need to do that have that overhead. All right. So we've done that. Next up, the next setting down, we're going to also disable this. Okay. What's this say? Allow link notifications from other blogs, pingbacks and trackbacks on new posts. So again, this is just adding overhead. This is going out on the web. It's doing notifications coming from your website. We don't want that. All right. We don't want those pingbacks. You can Google it, pingbacks, and why they're not a good thing. Other comment settings. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. Absolutely. Amen. Definitely want to do that. That's that setting right there. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. Don't want people willy-nilly off the streets to be able to get into your comment system. Avatars. We went through that right there. Okay. I'm going to leave it as just the default for now. Okay. I'm going to click Save Changes here. And by default, I meant the avatars. And you can adjust these as you want. There's more settings in here. These are just the main ones that I mess with. Up to you. Another good one potentially is to comment must be manually approved by you. Okay. So that is another option there. Okay, so we are good here. Next up is our post categories. So let's go back into WordPress and we're going to go to posts in categories. By default, WordPress is going to give you a category. That is this one right here. It's uncategorized. That's the name of it. This category cannot be deleted. Because of that, I call this, my website's primary category. It's just a term that I give it. I know I can't delete it, so but I don't want to leave it as uncategorized. Okay, I want to name it something meaningful. So to start out, I'm just going to name it, the name of my site. What's going on here. So we'll just name it that. That is our primary category. And like I said, you can't delete this. All right, so that is what it is. And I just give you the steps to do that. Now, at this stage, you could go in and add additional categories for your post. We're not going to do that quite yet. So I'm going to mark that as complete. Primary navigation menu. All right, so the very first thing we don't have a menu, all right? WordPress doesn't give you one to start. So we go under Appearance and then Menus. As you see here, there's no menu. So we need to build that menu. I like to come in here and I just name my menu primary. Okay. And then I set this primary menu box and click Create Menu. You can also choose to automatically add top level pages to this menu. So anytime you go into WordPress, Pages, Add New, it's going to drop that in here. You can do that, but I like to have more control and organize my menu. Okay. All right, so we're building the menu. We give it the name of primary. You can call it whatever you want. We click Create Menu. We've already done that. Menu settings, display location, select primary menu. We did that. Add menu items as desired. Okay, so let's come back in here. And here's our pages over here on the left that we can choose from, or post, or custom links or whatever we want to add from over here. I'm going to click view all, and I'm going to add that home page for now, and then click, so select home and then select add to menu. That's going to drop that in there, and click save. Okay, add additional menu items as desired. Click save menu. We've already done that. For SEO optimization, when adding external links to your WordPress menu, you should consider including a no-follow tag. This tag tells search engines not to pass any link authority from your page or post to the other website that you're linking to. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set that up. So under menus, let's just pretend we've got an external link here. HTTPS, facebook.com. We'll just leave it at that. We'll call this Facebook. So maybe you want to link to like a Facebook group or something like that. Let's click add to menu, which I don't recommend Facebook groups, by the way. But anyway, if you like those, good for you. All right, so we've added that, and now we need to go up under screen options up here in the top right, expose that. And we need to expose our link relationship. If I remember right from my memory, yes, link relationship. And say, well, close this screen options thing just to close it up. And we'll click, I think we need to refresh this, but I can't remember. Nope, it already adds it in there. Okay, so all we need to do now is add this no follow. I'm just going to copy this because I'm lazy. We just need to add this in here. So we're saying that the link relationship with this external Facebook.com website is we're not following it. We don't want any link juice being transferred from our site to Facebook. They don't need any more link juice. We're just doing that. So you want to always follow external links from your website that have absolutely no value for you. If you're linking to an external site that you own and you want that relationship to happen, then don't do the no follow. Okay. But that's a really important piece that I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually know that you are supposed to do that. I don't think I've ever seen them set up. So I help clients do that. Okay. And then test the link to make sure it opens in a new tab. So for that, there is another setting. I actually not. Oh yeah. So there's another piece. All right. So screen options, link target. That was the other piece there. So that's going to expose the option to open it in a new tab. That's a massive, important piece. So we open it in a new tab. We do a no follow. Anytime you open an external website, open it in a new tab. Do not take people away from your website. Huge no-no. All right. We would save menu in this case. I'm just going to remove that item and save. Going back to our worksheet, we've completed this task. And at this stage, guys, I think we are going to call this a wrap. Yes, we are going to call this a wrap. We've satisfied everything in our agenda for today, which is previous lesson recap, talked about WordPress Core, talked about the WordPress theme, and talked about our WordPress plugins. And we're good to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching lesson 2, and I will catch you on lesson 3. See ya.